A major Asian bank is replacing 4,000 employees with AI. Is this the start of a major trend of mass job losses to AI? Or is there more to the story? Well, let's take a look at the data and find out. But before we do, make sure to hit subscribe to stay ahead of the latest industry news. Now, many people are rightly worried about their careers and the impact of AI. In software, for example, we're almost on a daily basis bombarded with AI being inserted into every aspect of our work. The most notable one being coding assistants, generating large chunks of code to entire prototypes. But while these make us more productive, and one could argue that therefore fewer developers are needed, one could also argue that it could lead to increased demand for software development since the cost of building features would come down. But it's not just coders. Writers, designers, accountants, customer service are just some of the areas of concern in the short term. This study revealed patterns of fear by job type based on people searching for, will AI replace such and such role? And the results are pretty interesting. Software engineers are at the top of the list, as you might expect, but the list even includes accountants, doctors, and lawyers. Now, a report from the IMF said that 40% of jobs would be affected by AI. They also stated that in most cases, AI would likely worsen inequality. But if you look at the detail, it actually states that in more advanced economies, it's actually more like 60%, since more of the kind of work that AI impacts, such as office jobs or those requiring higher education, are done in those economies. But these percentages are a bit misleading, since they mention 40 to 60% affected, not lost. In many cases, these jobs could be enhanced, made easier, or workers be more productive with the new AI tools being introduced. Looking at this chart from the OECD mentioned in this Reuters article, you can see countries' jobs at highest risk of automation. Now, this is not necessarily automation from AI. It could be the continuing of the software automation trend, but now it's becoming increasingly difficult to differentiate between software automation and AI automation, since much of the new software being built will likely use AI in their product offering, whenever it can enhance the productivity and experience of the tool. For some reason, Hungary seems to be most at risk, with the UK and Luxembourg faring a bit better. Coming back to the news report from DBS Bank, they mentioned that they have been working on AI for 10 years. They have 800 AI models deployed across 350 use cases and expect the impact of these to be around $1 billion in 2025. So we're not talking about future gains in productivity. This is very much here and now. But the good news is that the bank also plans to create around 1,000 jobs in AI. But with all such tech advances, it's not likely the cashier or customer service folk that will now suddenly become AI experts. These tend to be highly specialized roles that require a high level of education. This report from CNN talks about 41% of employers planning to reduce headcount to AI automation. Now, these kinds of plans are commonplace amongst executives, but one must balance these with the fact that many technologies are overhyped, at least in the short term, leading to businesses often having to correct what they overreacted to initially. This is true even if the trend continues, but the timing was longer than anticipated. But all of this doom and gloom isn't actually the complete picture. As mentioned already, DBS planned to create 1,000 jobs, albeit in AI fields. The same IMF report that we mentioned earlier talks about only 26% of the labor market in developing countries being affected. AI's increase in productivity could actually be a boon for the economy. The governor of the Bank of England has said that AI will not be a mass destroyer of jobs. This report by McKinsey talks about 14% of the global workforce needing to transition to new occupational categories, which paints a picture of change rather than loss. The CNN article that we looked at earlier also states that 77% of employers were planning to reskill or upskill existing workers. There's an interesting quote here from Andrew Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England. He said, "I'm an economic historian before I became a central banker. Economies adapt, jobs adapt, and we learn to work with it. And I think you get better results by people with machines than machines on their own. So I'm an optimist." This report from the World Economic Forum talks about job displacements this decade, but looks at absolute numbers, which is what we're interested in. It points out that in the decade, while 92 million jobs will be displaced, 170 million will be created, a net positive of 78 million. They also mention some of the roles that are likely to grow, which include somewhat counterintuitively software engineers, shop salespersons, car and van motorcycle drivers, nursing professionals, social workers, and project managers, amongst many others. In the top declining jobs, you've got roles such as cashiers and ticket clerks, administrative assistants, printing and related trades workers, accountants, data entry clerks, and even graphic designers. But according to this report, at least the overall picture looks good. Okay, so while people are very clearly worried about their careers and the future of work, the picture isn't so simple. There will be an effect, but so far the pattern looks more like one of transition than complete loss. So let's not be too gloomy. I am really interested to know what you, the viewer, do for work and whether you're worried about the impact of AI on your job. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you don't want to be the last to know about important tech, AI, and programming news, then be sure to hit subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching.